Welcome to the Networking with Michelle podcast, the show dedicated on providing you the how-tos of marketing and networking strategies. Here we believe in the Jim Rohn quote, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Networking with Michelle show. I'm very excited about today's guest. We have Kavachi of Grubido, taking international food mainstream, beginning with the West African market, starting with the art of Fufu, a special art exhibit and food tasting experience going down here in Houston on August 11th. Kavachi, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I feel so special.
So, okay, Kavachi, I love the name. Where are you from? Where are your people from?
Okay, well, my dad is from Imo State and my mom is from Anambra.
Okay, cool. So my parents, myself, I'm from Cameroon. So,
ooh, yes.
Yeah, Ivy didn't tell you?
Well, the thing is that Jane actually gave me your contact, and I gave it to Ivy to reach out to you.
Oh, okay.
We love some Jane. Yes, we love some Jane.
Okay. See, she didn't tell me that part, but okay, I'm gonna have to shout out to Jane because I know she's listening. All right, so you are a food professional. How did you become a food professional?
I would have to say it stemmed from my mother. I'm the third generation in the food industry. My mom's mom, she had a restaurant. Well, she still has a restaurant back home. And my mom has a restaurant in Houston called Safari. She's been cooking for Houston since the 70s, but officially, actually her first restaurant was named after me, Casey's Restaurant. And which is very interesting, actually. And then she later opened Safari back in 97. So I've always been in the food industry. Like, I started really from the bottom, from mopping floors to washing dishes to chopping okra, everything, you name it, when it comes to African food. So I was always that child at school smelling like stockfish and agusi soup.
So you're a good cook?
I would say that I'm more of a concept cook, because a good cook can pretty much follow a recipe and bang it out, but a concept cook can actually take a combination of different types of food and make it into a full dish. So one of the dishes that I love is my goat meat sliders. And I love goat meat. Yes, goat meat sliders. Hawaiian bread, rounded goat meat, some caramelized onion, and a plantain on the Hawaiian bread is everything.
Okay, so I don't eat goat meat anymore like I used to. So, I mean, I'm assuming, I would like to believe you cook the goat meat to the point that it's tender, because it can be very tough.
No, I grind it into a patty.
Ah, okay. I can dig it. All right, so Grubido, what is Grubido? I've been hearing about this. Go ahead and break it down for us.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this, and I haven't really told people where the actual born of this name. When I was in boarding school back home in Nigeria, my dad sent me to boarding school, like I want to say in high school. And being that I was just this Yankee girl in a dormitory with nothing but girls. And keep in mind, I come from a very big family. I'm the second oldest out of 7 girls. So I've always been around girls. But being in a boarding house with different types of personalities, and especially women that were strictly Nigerian. So I was always, whenever we go home for break, I would always pack a lot of snacks. And especially, I would have people send me snacks from America. So I used to just always eat a lot of American food because I was still trying to get a hang of the Nigerian food. I always tell people Nigerian food in Nigeria and Nigerian food in America are 2 different types of food. So when whenever I would get my snacks, I would always eat like plantain. I would eat puff, meat pie. So I was always eating snacks and eating a lot of the dessert pastry side. So they used to just call me Grubido. You're such a Grubido. And those girls used to just call me that because I always just used to eat so much of the pastries, the snacks, because boarding school food is not good. I'm sorry, it's not. So I always just would eat the snacks, and they used to call me Grubido. I never understood what that terminology meant until as I got older. And my aunt, when she came over, she was like, "They used to call you Grubido, and one of your classmates told me that was your nickname." And I was like, you know what? When I was attending the school at Hilton College at U of H, my professor, we had to do a class project on like opening up a restaurant or a food truck, and I was asking God exactly like, what should I name this food truck? If I had $10,000 right now, what would I name my food establishment? And as I was sleeping in my bed, Grubido came up to fruition. So. Yeah, so Grubido means eating. Grubido means you love food. You indulge it. So that's
what went from means. A nickname to a business name.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you said your peers at school were calling you that, so I guess kind of like a nickname.
Pretty much. Okay. But it's actually a slang in Nigeria. They will call someone a Grubido.
Okay.
Like, so if you're overindulging on a particular dish or just anything with food or beverage, it's your Grubido. It might not be common to certain people, but that was a nickname that kind of was just written on my chest and on my belly, and I brought it to America. Grubido.
Okay. Now, you did say, food back home is different than the food here, which there's many reasons as to why. But why do you think food is so important to one's culture, regardless of where they come from?
It's just, I'm so glad you brought up that question because we just had a conversation about this morning. I feel that your food embodies everything about you. When certain people see a whole fish cooked, they get terrified.
Yeah.
But if you're back home, it's the norm. You actually will be like, where's the head on this fish? And then this is not like, it's like you will feel like you were bamboozled. You're like, no, you said this is fish pepper soup, so this should be a whole soup. Mm-hmm. This is a whole fish. Mm-hmm. So I feel like with our culture, it represents our food. When for our event that we're doing, the art of Fufu, I'm telling people that traditionally you eat Fufu with your hands. That's the tradition. And I feel that your tradition is embedded in you by your food. Because your food basically helps you and heals you through all trials and tribulations. Mm-hmm. Whenever you're sick, your parents will give you pepper soup. Whenever you're feeling nauseous, your mom will feeling nauseous or your stomach is hurting, she'll give you bitter leaf soup to help you with your stomach. So it's like we all tie our food into our culture because our culture is what makes us unique from the next person. Whenever you look at a Chinese person that eats pho to them is something that is a staple dish within the Vietnamese culture. So it's like everybody has a dish that identifies them for who they are. And that's how I feel about our food, African food. Like I feel that our food just lets people know that we eat this food to become strong. We eat this food to represent any type of illnesses that we're going through. We know which soup or which dish to eat. So I feel like your culture's food represents you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just had I love, the baked fish, plantain, little pepper on the side. The thing is, but my mom, it's so funny because my brother, he's 5 years younger than me. And my mom, she always laughs at it. She laughs at it because I'll eat the whole fish, but I won't eat the head. And my brother, he'll just eat the top of the fish.
Really? That's a
And my
very
mom,
unique.
and my mom was like, well, more so my brother. She's like, you people don't know how to eat fish.
Thank you, because it's like they're known to not salvage any piece of that meat. Like you have to eat the whole thing. It's like back home, God forbid if you leave half of, they even eat the bone. It's like the fish is gone. They don't, they're like, you still have meat. I'm like, where's the meat? The bone. You need to suck out everything. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just different. It's different.
So, fufu, by all means, one of my favorite dishes. You have the fufu. I prefer pounded yam. And then,
awesome.
and you know, let me say this. I don't even eat fufu as much as before because it's just so heavy. And I just feel like I can't afford to eat fufu because I will not be productive to society.
Well, it's okay. Okay, so you know there's different variations of fufu. We know fufu, like the Nigerians know fufu more so of pounded yam, cassava, yuca, plantain. We have different variations of fufu in Africa. In the Caribbean, it's called monfu. And so the thing is that if you eat plantain as the fufu, and what type of soup do you like to eat? Because you only mentioned pounded yam. What's your soup?
I prefer eru.
Ooh.
And yeah, in Cameroon, one of our main dishes is eru, where it's eru leaf mixed with just the regular spinach. And then my mom, I prefer just regular meat, but I don't eat stockfish like I used to. And then my mom and her friends, they love adding kanda. And I don't like the texture of kanda. I don't like it's too tough for me. And then
kanda?
It's to me, I think it's just more of the skin. And I don't want that. And then my dad, he would always laugh at me because he was like, why do you chew your fufu? You're supposed to swallow fufu.
Swallow. Okay, so that is one of the topics we're going to definitely discuss at the Art of Fufu, because I feel that people don't understand that if you were a child starting off eating fufu, when your parents told you to swallow, all you're thinking is, I'm about to choke and die. This woman is trying to kill me. She wants me to swallow this fufu. And I'm like, so I always used to chew it. My mom would be like, why are you chewing your fufu? Swallow it. And I'm like, ooh, I was so scared because she's the one that's actually rolling it and feeding it to me. So her fingers are way bigger than mine. If it was me, I'll choose to get a small fufu, but she's the one that's rolling it for me. So I always tell people, you can chew or you can swallow. If you have a good, a good gag reflex, then by all means, go ahead. But yeah. So do you chew or swallow?
I chew. But like I said, I don't even eat fufu anymore because it's so heavy. And then it's carb heavy. And I know recently, over the past couple of years, they've been coming out with like whole grain pounded yam.
Yes.
They have, and everything.
They have plantain. They have oatmeal. They have gari. They have pounded yam. And there's different ways to substitute pounded yam so it won't be as heavy. And I mean, at the end of the day, fufu is just that, a complement to the soup. And you kind of, I feel like you would want to be able to still keep a tradition, but then offer a more healthier version so people cannot step away from eating fufu. And that's the next goal and next step of mine, to actually still find a way to preserve fufu and keep its culture.
And another thing, I know fufu's a meal in itself, but what I do like about our culture is that you can cook like one or two soups and you can eat that with everything, right? So you can have your stew with rice, plantain, fufu, and like you just have 3 meals out from one pot.
Noodles. Yeah, you can have it with spaghetti, noodles. You can have it with fufu. You can have it with rice. I mean, it is, and if it's one of those vegetable soups, you can have it with plantain too and call it a day. So, I mean, it gives you combinations, definitely.
So what can people expect from the Art of Fufu? Is the event's on August 11th. Is it going to be many scoops? Different fufu styles? What are people going to get themselves into?
So at our event, it's going to be a live demo of how to make fufu. A lot of people who have been hearing this name, fufu, have always wanted to know, like, how do I make fufu? That's just so unique. So we're definitely going to have a food demo. One of my awesome cooks, Precious, Hannah, she's going to be there, and she has a fun personality. We just wrapped up a photo shoot for the Art of Fufu and for the book that we're producing called Come Chop. And she's going to be giving you a cool demo of how to make fufu from actually using a pot or a pan. A pot and some water. And she's going to show you the old school way. So she's going to give you a combination of ways of how it's made in America and how it's made in back home. And then we also have a food art show that's highlighting different types of soups and kind of showing you fufu in a different light. We're going to have images of fufu being made, different types of soups, and then me, Kavachi, I am producing this presentation of fufu. I don't want to give you all the details yet, but I really want you to come out because you're going to have an opportunity to try bite-sized fufu dishes or different soups and different types of fufus like plantain, gari, pounded yam, and you get to actually try different types of soups. So it's going to be a very fun experience to bring your kids, bring your family, bring your friends that have always wanted to try fufu, but this would be a good place to kind of show them in a good, wholesome area of town in Montrose at Brasil in Houston, where it's a fun place. I already know that anyone that comes is going to definitely enjoy an opportunity of seeing fufu in a beautiful light.
Yeah, I love the concept. Do you think this event, the Art of Fufu, is the first step to bringing African food mainstream?
Of course. I mean, I've already gotten calls from New York, and he was asking me, are you going to bring it to New York? Because you know that a lot of people would love to be involved in this type of project because they're seeing it now. They're seeing it because I remember talking about this with Jane last year that I want to do a contribution to Fufu because the Art of Fufu is actually a chapter in the Come Chop book that we're producing. And this book is pretty much a foundational book on African food. So it's definitely going to change the game in a sense of showing people different types of soups and foods and rices and everything about African food and giving you these beautiful imageries of our food. If you've seen the flyer, you can kind of get an understanding of like where we're going when it comes to the Art of Fufu. So it's going to be something that it will be in a different city, in a different state.
Well, what are some other ways to keep African traditions alive in America?
Let's start talking about it. Let's start getting people involved in our culture. Let's give them a reason to start talking about our food. We have to start, people have always wanted to know more about West African food, but the way that we're so sheltered in a sense, we like to kind of keep everything within our communities. Now this is a perfect time, a perfect platform from people utilizing our clothing and our music. Mm-hmm. Our food is a big portion of these people that are out here producing songs and clothing attire, because that's something that we can definitely start bringing to the table. I feel like Art of Fufu is just that step that is going to bring people to the table, because if you tell people about your food and this is what inspires you to produce a song, because some of these songs that I'm hearing now, you're sweet like tomato, and I love you like pepper soup. So these musicians are saying these phrases about food, about African food. Let's go ahead and start talking about African food then. So, I mean, when it comes to our food, I feel like we need to start talking about it. We need to start embracing it. We need to start promoting it to our friends and family, especially our colleagues at work that see our jollof rice and think that's Spanish rice. So we need to definitely start. We need to start telling them, like, okay, this pepper soup that you brought is not pho, it's pepper soup, and this is the seafood version of it. So we need to start letting people know about our food and let them, and not have this like, oh, they're going to understand mentality. No, they're going to understand, because when they see that meat pie, they're thinking it's empanadas.
Yeah, I'm writing about this in my book, and not so much on the food aspect, but just the culture. Because obviously my parents are from Cameroon. I was born here in the States. And I feel like the education or the informational piece is missing, right? And where we have a lot of folks wearing the clothes, but not understanding what's behind the clothes, right? And I'm not saying, it has to be all intellectual or whatever, but just understanding that the continent of Africa has 54 countries. Each country is a little bit different. Each tribe or region is a little bit different, and kind of like, I don't know, I just feel like with us, there's just a meaning behind it. Like, it's just not African print. There's a culture, there's a meaning, there's a tradition behind it. And I think that message needs to resonate more here in America, as why people can understand, like, why are they doing it? Why are they wearing it? Why is it important?
So let me ask you this, Michelle. You grew up here in the States, correct?
Yes.
So you kind of remember growing up, it was so hard for us to be in elementary school and people asking 21 questions about our last name, about why we look a certain way. And you remember those times that it was very hard for us. And people really were not embracing our culture because we were just unique, and we didn't know how to even talk about who we were or why we have a certain look or a certain last name, because we were still trying to find ourselves. But now it's like, oh, we found ourselves. We won't.
Right.
We are embracing. We're telling people that, look, we're here when it comes to like talking about business, talking about our culture amongst the communities that we're in. But when it comes to bringing people to the different types of establishments, they are afraid because they're like, well, I don't want them to embarrass me because, I wouldn't know how to explain it. No. Let them know this is how it is. Like, this is our culture. Like, we have to be able to start embracing it when it comes to our food, when it comes to everything that we do, because we have to fully take ownership of our culture, because if we don't, someone else will.
Right. Yeah. But not just Africans, but across the board in America. Americans are culture vulturing in a lot of ways.
Yes. So that's why, because soon as I remember when I was in the fashion industry, I know when Gwen Stefani took some African print and made it into this collection back in 2007, and it was called Innovating. And I'm like, that's not innovating. It's always been there. It was just that she exposed it. A lot of the high-end designers were using African prints. You just see that Gala Must Go bag outfit that they created on the runway? That Gala Must Go bag is in Nigeria. So it's just kind of like, if we don't take full ownership of our culture, someone else will, and they will not do it in a way where it's going to be benefiting anybody, especially the person that is from that country.
So you mentioned business. What are some methods that we can support African Millennial business owners?
Oh, so many ways. We have skincare products. We have lipsticks. We have skincare products. We have clothing brands. We have people who are just not in the whole like law industry or engineers. These are people who actually have products that we have in their household. Like they're making everything from dishware, from aprons, from tablecloths, beddings. There's a lot of us in this industry, not just in the food industry, but actually in the apparel industry, skincare industry, beauty industry, and also just creating books about our culture, how to speak our language, because our parents are basically that last lifeline to teach our kids how to speak the language, because we were taught to speak English first versus speaking our actual native tongue, because we didn't want to have another strike against our backs of not being able to adapt to our surroundings or our environment or our neighborhood. So English was pushed upon us. If our parents are not around, I feel like we're going to be the people who put a foundation for us, for the next generation to come. Us millennials are going to be the one that sets the tone moving forward for our kids. So we need to start supporting our millennial businesses, from books to everything in your household needs to be supported by an African that's producing it, because we all know the struggle growing up here in America. And now it's our turn to actually take full control of our own message.
Yeah. So we have the event August 11th. So go ahead and give us the details about the event as well as how people can find you on social media.
Awesome. So the Art of Fufu is at Brazil. It's at 2604 Dunlavy. You can definitely reach out on our website, www.theartoffufu.com. We do have a social media account with Grubido. Grubido's is on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Grubidos, which is GRUBIDOS. And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram, and our Instagram handle is Brubcam. But please, RSVP. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, so is there a cost for this event?
It's actually a free event with RSVP. So if you RSVP, you can get it for free. So it's a free event, just RSVP. So we'll get everything ready for you.
Hey, it doesn't get any better than that.
It does.
Free event, free food.
Free food, music, and art. That's a family event. That's a family
event. What more do you want?
Especially in Houston.
I love it. Love it. Kavachi, thank you so much for doing this interview. I look forward to meeting with you on August 11th, if not sooner. I think this is awesome. I love it. I love the concept, and I can't wait to see it come to life.
Thank you. I'm praying that God will continue to bless this dream and this vision that He has given me, and I just want to give God all the glory, because this right here was from Him. And thank you so much, Michelle, for giving me the opportunity to talk about something that I've been loving since the day they said you smell like starfish.
No doubt. Hey, everyone. Remember, I believe in you. Personal connection leads to an influential network. Thanks for networking with Michelle.